good guys.
As a whole,
As a whole, yeah. Yeah. The team needs to have some scariness.
Are we on?
I just turned this on.
Okay, will you just swing that mic a little just a scotch closer? Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So the good guys need to be scary.
They have some scariness to them.
Mm-hmm.
St. Paul's expression in Romans that the prince does not bear the sword in vain.
Mm-hmm.
That the prince, as an instrument of justice, is to be scary.
Mm-hmm. What is scary? It's not blustering threats. It's not noisy saber rattling.
Far from it. Theodore Roosevelt's famous line was "Speak softly and carry a big stick."
Mm-hmm.
With the practice speaking softly is a different question.
Uh-huh.
It's still a good line.
Mm-hmm.
But it's scary. Darn, yeah. It's like asking, someone once asked Justice Holmes, it was a legal dispute about the constitutionality of the anti-pornography law. And the legal debate came down to how do you define pornography? Someone asked Justice Holmes that question, and he said, you know it when you see it.
Oh, yep. It's hard to define.
It's hard to define.
You know it when you see it.
You know it when you see it. It has a mood and a tone to it. Scary is like that. It's not any particular build. It's not any particular formula of words. You know it when you see it.
Mm-hmm.
There are people you don't mess with. Part of it that's identifiable is that at some point they acquire a certain record. You know they're not to be messed with. Take spectacular Western frontiersman Kit Carson. Became Catholic. Actually, and he married to the Jaramillos of Taos, but
and they reference that in Death Comes for the Archbishop.
He was a little shorter than average. He was more slender than average. Mild-mannered. But when things started happening, you did not want to be on the wrong side of Kit Carson.
Mm-hmm.
It was scary. Part of it, as I said, that the part that can be identified is he acquired a certain record.
Right. Of accomplishment.
Certain reputation. But another part of it is really hard to define. You just encounter some people and you know you don't want to mess with them.
In the education of a young man, should a young man ask himself, am I scary enough? What's that? How do we consider this in ourselves?
It's a huge question. I've thought about this, as I said, I've thought about this for a long time. Going back to my high school days, how I hated the Jason movies. You know, you've got this slasher and everybody just runs and screams away from the slasher. I hated it. And it occurred to me, now, wait a minute. Everybody's scared of him. I'm scary. I'm good sized. I'm strong. Give me a baseball bat.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a big stick.
I'll go beat his head in.
Yeah. At the very least, there'll be a fight. I'm scary. Tolkien, I don't remember where this is in the Lord of the Rings books, but at one point, one of the young hobbits asked him if Treebeard is dangerous. And he goes, of course he's dangerous. I'm dangerous.
This is the conversation with Gimli.
That's
Gimli.
That's
yes.
That's it.
Right. I'm so glad. For a moment, I thought you were dangerous. But I am dangerous.
Of course he's dangerous. I'm dangerous. Aragorn is dangerous. You and your way are dangerous. You're surrounded by perils. There is no virtue in mere weakness. There is virtue in weakness that is acknowledged and accepted.
Mm-hmm.
There's virtue in the apparent weakness of refraining from using all of one's strength. Exercising with restraint, there's great virtue in that. I'm convinced there's no merit weakness by itself. Because there is no by itself. The weakness is the word we use for the absence of strength.
Mm-hmm.
Strength that is.
And even during his passion, Christ is clear that this is a laying down of my strength.
John's gospel, it is finished. He says from the cross, he's the one in charge. Even on the cross, he's the one in charge.
Mm.
Or
And much earlier in the day, he gives Pilate reason to pause.
Yes.
Yes?
He does.
Says,
you have no power over me unless it were given you from above. That is why the one who hands you over is guilty of the greater sin. I have power to lay my life down and power to take it up again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a popular myth about Jesus Christ that maybe it's fading in the current year, but it was certainly popular, I believe, in the 2010s that it would go something like, and then around the year 0 AD, of course they got the date wrong, right? Not 30 AD, but of course, right. So around the year 0 AD, we noted the advent on the world stage of a man who spent a fair bit of time traveling around telling people to be nice to each other and was crucified and killed for his efforts. It's like, okay, you got the date wrong. You called it 0 AD. So you're not even familiar. You're not even doing the history correctly. But you really think that this man was killed for wandering around Palestine telling people to be nice to each other? Have you not read what he said? Of course they haven't.
And do you not, well, not read what he said, but also do you fail to understand people at all? They don't kill you because you're a nice guy. They kill you because they see you as a threat. And if you're merely a nice guy, they don't see you as a threat. They went to a certain amount of trouble to kill him. There was contempt as well. They didn't put out much money, did they? 30 pieces of silver. 30 days' wages for manual labor. Certain amount of contempt there, but still some effort went into killing him. And before that, mental effort into entrapping him. You do that when you feel threatened. He was a threat. Certainly perceived as a threat. He spoke of establishing a kingdom. What kind of a kingdom?
What are you talking about? All right.
He spoke of being in some way superior to the law, which is a threat to those who have made an idol of the law, and an extreme threat to those who have made the idol of the law but regard themselves as the chosen servants of that idol. Man is not made the Sabbath is made for man. We still have that saying, I hate it. Politicians will use this saying when they're going after other politicians. They'll wipe a little tear from their eye and say, oh, I'm only doing this. I'm not doing this because I hate him or have a grudge or for political advantage. I'm only stabbing him repeatedly because wipe the tear away. No one is above the law. I think to myself, no, everyone is above the law. In this sense, the law serves us. We do not serve the law. It's important. We dare not disregard it. Man is not made for the Sabbath. Sabbath is made for man. The law is to be the servant of human well-being. We have anarchy if people decide on their own what laws to obey and what not to obey, but nonetheless, conceptually, everyone is above the law. Not in the sense of being entitled to disobey it, but in the sense that the law is the servant of the people and not their impersonal master.
So in judging the application of the law, we must recognize that what problem is the law invented to solve?
Precisely so.
Which is that?
The moral principle of epikeia. That the most precise possible application of the law may produce concrete injustice in situations.
It's kind of like the speed limit doesn't really apply if you need to get to the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got someone, lady I know had this experience sometime back before the age of cell phones, right? Wild experience. Decades ago. Had the experience of driving along, and there by the side of the road, she saw two men, she and her family, saw the classic old family vacation station wagon driving along towards the park, saw two men by the side of the road in obvious distress. They'd been attacked by a bear, and one of them was in dangerous condition. So they had to give him to the hospital. You didn't call a cell phone in those days. You'd grab your cell phone and call 911 in those days, right? You're on the road. So you drive him to the hospital. So yes, exactly. In that situation, if a man is probably bleeding to death in the back of your station wagon, you don't say to yourself, I must obey the speed limit. That's a good example. At Bacaya, where a strict application of the law would produce a concrete injustice in that particular situation.
Hmm.
Yes, something that the Lord Jesus would teach, that because the law is meant to be our servant. The rule about the Sabbath, the law about honoring the Sabbath, it's meant to liberate us, give us a day of rest and holiness. It's not meant to be another source of oppression. So we're always wondering, how far can I walk before I have violated the law?
Hmm.
If I pick some heads of grain from the field on a Sabbath, have I violated the law? He heals the woman tormented for decades with a twisted spine. He does it on the Sabbath. There are 6 other days, the ruler of the synagogue says. There are 6 other days for people to be healed. Come and be healed on those days and not on the Sabbath. Reading the gospel text, you want to shout it? Oh, don't be an ass, man.
Hmm.
He threatened those who made an idol of the law and appointed themselves the servants of the law,
The enforcers of
the
the law.
enforcers of the idol.
The enforcers.
And he made himself the enemy of those who made an idol of the temple. Destroy this temple in 3 days, I will raise it up.
In the
He
temp,
says, he says, a day will come when not one stone will be left standing upon another. Not that he despised the temple.
he had
Life
Peter
of,
pay the temple tax.
yes, and did pay the temple tax. He obeyed the clear legal obligation. We never find him clearly disobeying the law. Never.
Hmm.
But what he does, never, I'm going to argue this, but he insists the law has to be interpreted in a way that serves human beings rather than beats them down. Woe to you, scholars of the law. You tie up burdens, you place burdens heavy to carry on men's backs and don't lift a finger to help them. The law is meant to help us, not burden us. It is to be interpreted in those terms. It's something that builds people up rather than smashes them down.
Hmm.
It's very interesting because usually the phrase that's used when someone is trying to enforce a law is trying to put someone in their place. It's very interesting. It's
Often used as a weapon, yeah.
like are you watched the Hunger Games?
I did, believe it or
Good.
not. I
Um,
had to, back in the day, I was pastor in Laramie, and I had to issue a verdict on should parents let their kids watch those movies. So
mm,
I had to
Why those
watch.
movies specifically? Because they were so popular?
Well, they're movies about teenagers killing each other, right?
Right.
That's more about more than that. But for concerned parents, that's what's going on in these movies.
Sure.
So I had to watch them in order to make an evaluation of what was going on.
Hmm.
I said, I was kind of impressed.
they're very good.
I told them, if you were to imagine an America in which the last vestiges of Christianity had disappeared, there it is.
Mhm.
Because you couldn't have the setup in those movies as long as even a vestige of Christianity.
Hmm.
It's I think one of my favorite movie series actually because um well, the main reason is because one person's simple act of love is what destroys the entire
Starts to
complex.
bring the whole thing down.
And um, she's also fiery enough to speak truth when she sees it, and even though she knows it's going to make it harder on herself. Um, but one of the things I thought was very interesting was that all the policemen are called peacekeepers,
Yes, of course.
and they're literally like forcing people to do things, and they're beating them if they don't follow these perceived rules that they say will make the humanity as a whole better, and all these, slang terms you hear from communists.
Oh, it's always done for the common good. Yes.
And then I was just thinking about that because it's like, when you have um like an over rebellious kid, people get really angry, like stop it, like they yell at the kid, like
Yes, you
be in your
defeated.
place. Yeah, they're trying to essentially kill the spirit inside instead of direct the energy.
St. John Bosco, in his letter, great educator saint,
Uh-huh.
St. John Bosco, in a letter to his brethren, said we should be ashamed ever to speak to the children entrusted to us in anger,
Mm.
ever. Uh, they must know that we have to have discipline, but they must know that we love them. They must know this. And this educational system I'm presenting, Don Bosco said, this educational system I'm presenting can only work. He did not think that it would work apart from Christianity. It can only work on the basis of supernatural love and supernatural faith. We educate them with a view to their eternal destiny. And we educate them in such a way that they know that they are loved.
Hmm. This was the foundation of the Catechism of the Good Shepherd as well. The
Exactly.
first 3 or 4 years are spent developing a love and a message of love for the Good Shepherd.
What a wonderful catechesis.
It's really quite startling.
So not easily implemented.
No, it's a fragile thing.
It's a fragile thing, but it's marvelous. Yes, educate them. And of course, John Bosco was talking about education in the broadest sense,
Mm-hmm.
the whole program of education. Educate them with a view to their eternal destiny, and educate them in such a way that they know they are loved.
Mm.
Certainly was the style of Father Flanagan, founder of Boys Town,
Mm-hmm.
whose cause for canonization has been introduced.
Oh, really?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's very good. At long
Mm.
last.
Mm.
Great American character.
Mm. Speaking of breaking the law, we were having a very interesting conversation about Caesar's
Oh,
political
good old Julius.
Caesar's political maneuvering from Gaul to Rome.
Yes.
It's just a fascinating episode, but his crossing of the Rubicon would have been legally discerned as a what?
The rebellion.
Act of rebellion. Okay.
Rubicon was the boundary of his province.
Okay.
He had no right to lead his troops outside his province.
Ah, okay.
Got direction from the Senate.
Okay. It would be akin to trying to arrest someone outside your jurisdiction, but on a martial scale.
Yes, on a much larger scale. Well, and also his intention was to inform the Senate that he was not inform his enemies who controlled the Senate that he was not going to submit tamely to being destroyed.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
When his term of office, when his imperium, his term of office in the Gauls was finished, he would be a civilian again, as we would say.
As the commission would be extinguished.
Commission be extinguished.
Okay.
He'd be liable to prosecution.
Right.
And if you know late Roman politics, and yes, such is my level of geekness that I know late Roman politics.
Yes.
I even had a card game once. I can't find it. I apparently gave it away. I had a card game once based on late Roman politics. And the goal of the game was to make yourself the princeps senatus, the leader of the Senate. Well, standard technique of Roman politics was bringing a legal prosecution against your political enemies.
Mm-hmm.
This is a normal procedure. Cato the Elder was a legend of rigid rectitude. Nonetheless, he was constantly getting prosecuted. Everybody in Roman politics is trying to prosecute everybody else in Roman politics.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that a good way to get started in Roman politics was be someone's defense advocate at their trial.
Way to make a name for yourself.
Way to make a name for yourself. That's how Cicero first made a name for himself.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't win the case, but it was a marvelous prosecution he watched. The accused had friends in high places, but
Okay, so it was arguably unwinnable.
yeah, probably unwinnable.
But man, what a show.
That's why he was not blamed for losing it.
Mm.
What a show. Watch his political career. This is a society that took rhetoric seriously, very seriously. One cultural historian I read said to understand, educated Roman culture, one thing you have to realize is that these were people who enjoyed concert rhetoric.
Mm.
They would enjoy sitting down and listening to a speech. And they expected certain things from the speech. 19th century America was like that too. People tell the story of the Gettysburg Address, how Lincoln's brief address followed Edward Everett Hale's long address. Moderns read that and they think, oh, well, obviously, Hale must have bored his audience to death. No, his audience loved it. Edward Everett Hale was a renowned rhetorician. But this also is a culture in which there was such a thing as concert rhetoric. People enjoyed a long, interesting, and artistic speech.
Mm. It was the stand-up comedy of the age.
Yeah.
Not that it was taken comedically, but it was something that there was an audience for.
There was an audience.
It was a way to display verbal prowess. Yeah.
And Lincoln did it too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he didn't mean to at the Gettysburg Address. He just happened to write a particularly beautiful address.
Mm-hmm.
To which Edward Everett Hale paid tribute in a note he wrote to Lincoln. I would flatter myself if I could suppose that in 1 hour I came as close to the crux of the issue as you did in 5 minutes. In any case, back to Rome. Roman politicians prosecute each other. If you're a Roman politician, you're going to be prosecuted. It didn't mean you're particularly rotten. It's like my high school compatriot, not one of my close friends, high school compatriot, who got into pediatric surgery. And the first time he was sued, he was badly shaken up. But an older surgeon told me, in this field, you're going to get sued. Just get used to it. That's why you pay these high insurance premiums.
Mm-hmm. Right. There's a plan in place for this.
So you're going to get sued. So
can you just hold that thought, Padre? We're going to just address a technical issue. I'm going to close this door. Can we check his sound and make sure that I'm not overbalanced?
Technical issues. People up on Sergeant Schultz and Hogan's Heroes. I know nothing.
I love that show. We were brought up on Hogan's Heroes.
Reruns for you.
Yeah, we got Dad would buy us all the DVDs sets. Actually grew up on that. Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, gee.
That Proof.
You did grow up some old ones.
Yeah. Andy Griffith Show.
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, yes.
Good old Julius.
But
he was 54 when he died?
Yes. You forgot. Or didn't realize the Roman Constitution had failed. He didn't.
As in Rome was being run in open violation.
Open, constant.
Okay.
It didn't start with Julius Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
You can trace it back to 3 decades before he was born with the crises of the Gracchus brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So the Roman Constitution was dead. But he didn't realize, as much insight as he had in literary and military spheres, he didn't have the political insight to understand you can't just operate without a constitution. And people weren't going to accept simply especially the aristocrats of Rome, were not going to accept just Julius Caesar's in charge. There had to be a new constitution, but he had no idea
Where to start with that?
where to start with that.
What sort of protocols, routines, traditions, or even theater to invent around the exercise of power?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just undisguised dictatorship, and that rankled too many people.
In his defense, all the people that he was ruling, all his immediate political peers were all the people who had tried to oppose him, right?
Yes. He was fairly magnanimous about that.
Oh, he was. Okay.
Fairly.
Mm-hmm.
Once he'd won the war.
Uh-huh.
He wasn't one to go seeking revenge unnecessarily. He was capable of great ruthlessness.
Mm-hmm.
Was economical about it.
Mm.
Mere revenge is a waste of energy.
Right. Right. I'm a busy man.
I'm a busy man. I've got an empire to run.
Right.
But he didn't understand undisguised mere dictatorship
Mm.
will always generate resentment and eventually resistance. He was killed. It was left to his great nephew and adopted son, Octavian Augustus.
But he had two natural children of his own, correct? Or two, history records two natural children?
Yes, a daughter
Mm-hmm.
and a son by Cleopatra.
Uh-huh. Who, being a Greek Egyptian, would never have had a place in Roman politics?
Not a chance.
Okay.
He had never married Cleopatra anyway.
Okay.
But not a chance. That wasn't going to be acceptable.
Okay.
She really got around.
All over.
Cleopatra was an adventurous exploiter of
Powerful
people, of powerful Romans. Yeah. Yeah. You got she had a talent for it.
Especially being that far away.
Well, he ventured into Egypt.
Oh, we did.
In the course of his adventures.
Oh.
He established her on the throne. And though, despite the age difference, they certainly had a relationship.
How much of an age difference?
At the time, she was perhaps 20, and he was perhaps 45.
Wow.
Kind of off the top of my head.
That's pretty big.
But he was in the process of making himself Lord and Master of the Roman world.
He had some momentum.
Had momentum. And typically, when he came to Egypt, he dealt with a dangerous situation, hadn't brought enough troops with him to guarantee he'd deal with it. Except this was Caesar, so
he believed he could deal with it.
He dealt with it. But it was left to, but he didn't have the political insight. See, Rome needed a new constitution.
Right.
Cicero had a sense of this, but Cicero was too committed to a romantic idea of the old constitution, which had failed, but he couldn't quite accept that it had failed. Left Octavian Augustus to give Rome a new constitution. One man rule, but one man rule embedded in Roman traditions, decently concealed, and connected with some consultative procedures.
How often does history produce men of this caliber?
Oh,
1 in 10,000, 1 in a million.
Gee, that caliber, I'd almost say 1 in a million. There are different kinds of genius. There's such a thing as musical genius.
Right.
Famously, young Mozart visited Sistine Chapel, heard Allegri's Miserere being sung. And he was accused of having obtained, it was illegal to send that music outside the Vatican. It was such a treasured piece of music. And he was accused of, he had a score of it. He was young. I think he did 12 maybe. He had a score of it, so he was accused of having stolen it or smuggled it out. No, he heard it being sung. And after it was sung, it's polyphonic music, multiple voices, interweaving with each other in a wonderful way. heard it sung. After he heard it sung, he went and just wrote it down. Ah, who
Right.
can do this kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Do you like the movie they made about him, Amadeus?
It's an oldie, yes,
Okay.
long time ago.
Yeah.
Fun movie, bad history.
Fun movie, bad. Ah, that reminds me of our favorite game. I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah. Fun movie, bad history. That's the name of the game now
That's a
from
good
going forward.
Fun
Next
movie,
time
bad
you're on
history.
here, Padre.
Really wasn't fair with poor old Salieri.
Hmm. I love how they depict when he sees the music on the stand.
But it's a fun movie.
Right. Right. Oh yeah, he sees the music on the stand. He starts hearing it in his mind. He's captivated by it.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Tragic, and it's tragic. A little right, because neither of their lives end happily.
No,
Yeah.
the movie insists that Mozart died in poverty, which he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's condemned Salieri to an insane asylum, which
He never went to.
is good drama.
Uh-huh.
Schubert died in an insane asylum.
Mm-hmm.
There are really depressing letters from Brahms to his wife. Really sad letters talking about his deteriorating condition in the asylum.
Schubert's deteriorating condition
Yes.
that Brahms was observing.
Visited him
Mm-hmm.
because Franz Schubert had sponsored Brahms early in his career.
Mm-hmm. Wow. 1 in a million.
1 in a million.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of thing is just staggers near more. They're mortals, right?
Mm.
But with gifts that you can understand when you look at people like that, you can understand why the pagans had the idea. Because the pagans didn't conceive of the gods as truly divine, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't read Homer and think that they thought of these gods as divine in the sense that we use the word divine.
Sure.
They're superheroes.
Yep. Yep.
To all intents and purposes.
Mm-hmm.
So since they already view the gods as superheroes, little more than that, you can see why they had the notion that some people could be
Demigods.
gods,
Yeah.
some people with exceptional abilities
Mm-hmm.
that just leave you with slack-jawed admiration.
Right. Right. Not only can I not compete, I can't even really play the same game.
You can't, exactly. Can't even play this game. I can barely understand what this person is doing.
Yep. 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 Is what is particularly notable about Julius Caesar is that he was at that level in multiple arenas.
Multiple arenas,
Okay.
yes. People knew that he was a charismatic figure, but that's unusual, not so extremely rare.
Mm-hmm.
That he was also a very great writer, master of the Latin language. People that come to understand that with
Admiration.
and some annoyance. Then suddenly he turns out to be an astonishing military genius. It's like,
What can he do?
this is not fair.
Yeah. Do you feel that you've ever met someone on that caliber? You don't have to name names, of course, but
Ooh, someone who asked me this question before. Did I know it? What I told that person, I'll repeat it, is that I don't think I've met any geniuses. I don't.
okay.
But I think I've met some near geniuses.
Okay.
I think I've met some people who just they operate at a level above. And I don't mean that they have more knowledge in a particular area than I do, right? That goes with education. Of course they do.
Sure.
They've been educated for that. I don't mean that. I mean people whose natural ability is a level above mine.
Okay. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
You've
I don't
met
think I've met natural geniuses, but I've met people who are occupying that notch between me and actual genius.
actually.
There is a notch in between.
Right. Where they are in their, at least in their own generation, in their own prime, they are the leading light on a particular
Yes.
subject.
And it comes so naturally to them.
Ah.
And they see things that I don't see.
Mhm.
not just because of education in the field. They can be in the same kind of endeavor and see possibilities that I don't see.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I remember rolling with some of the Gracie family down in Mexico in jiu-jitsu and thinking, my God,
Where did that come from?
where did that come from? How do I not even have an answer for it? How did I not see it coming? I've been doing this with a fair amount of dedication for 10 years, and did not see it coming. Yep. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes, the real masters.
Yeah. That's, I think, one of the fun things about jiu-jitsu is that you could conceivably do it with the Michael Jordan of the sport and his
Mm.
immediate peers, right?
Mm.
The sport is still tight enough that
Yes.
a serious amateur could get a chance to
That's good.
scrimmage with Jordan, so to
That's very
speak.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
This,
part of that is because, I mean, it's not a national sport the way football, basketball, baseball, or hockey are. So there's a way in which the pay scale is not so
right.
unimaginable.
Hasn't been so intensively commercialized.
Oh my goodness. I mean, if you look at professional sports, I mean, sometimes my jaw drops and I think, where do they get the money for these salaries? Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, 25 million a year. We're like, who's paying this? Yeah. Yeah. That boggles the mind. So yeah, so when I was down in Mexico, I was with a group of guys, some of whom who were themselves very successful in their own spheres, and so probably arguably out earned these these guys who were actually teaching the seminar, who had done quite well, but again in a niche sport
Right.
beyond doubt. But the advantage is that you can go and roll, and then some people were very into partying with the Gracie family after hours, which after 9 hours of jujitsu
You're not going to do it in
in
9 hours.
in Mexican heat, in Mexican summer heat, 9 hours of jujitsu, and then still have the energy to go out and hit the clubs all night long. I really don't know how they did it, but maybe those people were on another caliber.
You probably chose the better part.
Oh, I certainly chose the better part. Yeah. Yeah. I certainly chose the better part. Yeah, there were a few bleary eyes the next morning on one of the class days. So,
One of my interesting friends
hmm,
went through a time in his adventurous life in which he was a bouncer at a kind of establishment that desperately needed a bouncer.
mm-hmm,
After that moment, after that part in his life, he passed on to me the wisdom: nothing good happens after midnight.
right.
People are relatively normal up till then.
Mm-hmm,
And it's like some sort of almost supernatural thing
right.
happens.
The spell
Yeah, the midnight spell.
descends.
And I could expect it. This is when the stupid stuff would start to happen.
Right, right. What were you thinking?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Definitely. What were you thinking?
What were you doing? What were you thinking?
How was this going to turn out?
Mm-hmm. Right, right. Best case scenario, after midnight, you just go home.
That's it.
Right.
Go home before midnight.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so true. Yes, you see it again and again.
You do?
Right. Especially in the under 25 crowd and the under 30 crowd. Sorry, Tom.
The
No.
youngster Tom, the youngster in the group.
Mm,
How old are
yeah.
you now?
I'm 27.
27.
No.
A youth by any standard. I was studying medieval history, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
ancient medieval history. And I'm at the age where all the people I study about are dying
Ah,
my age.
yes. Late 50s.
Yeah,
Right. Hmm. Has that changed your reflections on your own mortality?
it has.
Okay.
It has. It's driven home to me that despite the advantages of modern conditions,
Mm-hmm.
and despite my current condition of, as far as I can tell, robust health, just I'm 2/3 to 3/4
True.
the way through.
Hmm. Interesting. Do you enjoy life more than you did 30 years ago?
That's a powerful question, isn't it?
I think so.
That's a powerful question. The answer is yes.
Hmm.
30 years ago, even in my field, I had anxieties as well as ambitions about how I was going to progress in the field or be successful in the field or not successful in the field and not progress in the field. Those anxieties and ambitions get in the way of enjoying life.
Hmm.
And by this point in my life,
You've done what you've done,
what I've
or
done, and I've got some years of good work left.
hmm
Uh, and that's good enough.
hmm
Doesn't particularly matter. Someone asked me this actually when I was a young priest, very inquisitive highway patrolman. Said, good guy. It's some funny highway patrol stories, by the way, from the old days in the highway patrol. But he asked me, priests are people, so surely you think sometimes about moving up in rank and position. And I admitted, yeah, you do. You know you shouldn't, but you do.
hmm
Then comes a moment when you realize you're not likely to, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
Doesn't matter to you.
to me.
This
And
is as high as I'll go.
yeah, yeah. You're just exchanging one set of problems for another.
Oh.
There's a popular book in the 70s. My dad had it, Peter Principle. In every hierarchical organization, people tend to be promoted to their level of incompetence.
Yeah.
And you see that someone shines at one level, that because they shine at that level, they get promoted. But at the next level, it's actually a quite different job.
And maybe they shine there, at which point they'll be promoted again.
But at some point, often they don't.
Sure.
Sometimes it's the promotion that reveals your weaknesses.
Hmm.
Uh, Sometimes I've seen this happen in church and state. Obviously, I won't be naming names. Sometimes a big promotion will bring out things, someone's personality that they'd kept under wraps. Darn, I thought he was a nice guy. Uh,
Maybe it was best that they did keep it under wraps. Maybe they were right to keep it under
they were right to
wraps.
keep it under wraps, but the big promotion brought it out.
Hmm.
They no longer felt they had to keep it under wraps.
Ah.
Pope Urban the Sixth. I said I wouldn't name names, but I can name names. Someone who's been dead for 700 years.
Urban the Sixth?
Urban the Sixth
Okay.
elected, his election is what started the Great Schism. And the easy, quick and easy description of that is that the mainly French cardinals elected this Italian, because under pressure after a succession of French popes, they're under pressure from the Roman mob. Then as soon as they had the opportunity, they repudiated the election. Well, it wasn't that simple. Uh, Urban the Sixth had been a perfectly respectable underling. He wasn't one of the cardinals. He was Archbishop of Naples. Didn't actually live in Naples, basically worked in the Curia, one of the church's weaknesses in those days, non-resident bishops, either royal court or at the papal court. Anyway, he's been a very respectable underling. Fine record. He was elected pope, and it was revealed that he was a foul-tempered, dictatorial, impulsive, borderline violent menace.
Incompetent leader.
Kind of crazy. Well, the church constitution did not and does not have any provisions about what do you do if the Pope's a lunatic. So the cardinals, almost all of them, thought that the thing they do is get together and almost unanimously renounce the election, and that would force him to resign. But no. Having painted themselves into that corner, the Cardinals then proceeded to claim that they only elected him under duress, which is not true, and that therefore it was invalid elections, elect a new man, and we have the Great Schism.
In their defense, they were recognizing the problem, which was
this is the problem. Pope's lunatic.
He's totally,
very few
totally unfit.
St. Catherine of Siena could manage him. Maybe he needed the woman's touch all along. St. Catherine of Siena could manage him. She was one of the very few people who could, though. He was a lunatic. The church constitution did not and does not have any kind of mechanism for what you do if the Pope's a lunatic.
And the successor of St. Peter is off his rocker.
He's off his rocker.
Off the sea.
Yes. But that only came out when he got the big promotion. It's like he was right on the edge. Something might have pushed him over the edge, might have been something else, but pushed him over the edge in this case was the big promotion. So you realize, I don't know what a big promotion might do to me. You realize that at some point after 30, 45, 50, just as well that I and the world don't have to find out.
As in, no harm done. Maybe the world is not in need of.
I'm content with what the Lord has given me, the life that I have, and with God's help, I hope I can do the job I do have well. Job's the right word for it.
I don't know what to say to that.
No, I've actually been thinking about this a little bit. The word inspire means to breathe life, right?
Yes.
I was thinking about this a little bit. I don't know if you're familiar with this new movie that came out called Project Hail Mary.
You know, people invited me to go with them to Billings to see it. IMAX. They overlooked the fact they were going up on a Saturday afternoon. And I have commitments Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening.
Well, if you
I
get
haven't
it,
seen it.
okay.
Vale la pena.
It's highly recommended. I'm impressed.
Yeah, you liked it, right?
I did like it.
What did you like about it? Without giving away.
Without giving it away.
What's your review without giving it away?
The movie knows what friendship is worth.
Ooh, that's good.
And it's trying to cover a lot because, I mean, it's a thick novel that's scientifically steeped in scientific realities. I think the author makes some judicious decisions to get a little fantastical here or there, but ultimately, from what I understand, is that the author is himself an amateur scientist and truly respects it. But the heart of the movie is a relationship,
That's good.
and knows that it's a relationship that it is a relationship that drives both people in it to the accomplishments that they do.
Tom, what do you say?
That's a really good review. I was thinking in the same line. This thing that really caught me by that movie was Ryan's character was very funny and playful, even in the most dire circumstances. And it's that
good trait.
Yeah. like that playfulness is actually what makes it all work out. Like if he was like hard and rigid and was frustrated and confused and all these other things that he could have very easily done, especially with the weight of responsibility that was on his shoulders, then it probably would not have even come close to being concluded or accomplished. So I was thinking about that because just seeing him offset talk about it as well, you can see that he essentially, that's just Ryan's personality in the movie. And that really inspired me. And I was thinking about this word specifically because now it makes me want to behave in the same manner
Uh,
in my everyday activities. And I think that's kind of what the movie was trying to show was like, kind of no matter whatever you do, the attitude you bring towards it is actually what matters. Because, like, one moment he's a middle school teacher, and the next moment he's trying to help save the world. But he wasn't like looking to save the world at all. He just loved doing good stuff.
that's, yes. There's a classic in medieval history by a mid-20th century Dutch historian, uh, Duecento. So the 12th century, which for the Italians means the 1200s. Uh, I read it in English, not in Dutch. But she makes the point that Francis of Assisi would likely have been just another failed religious agitator if, when he was in that church and he heard the command, repair my church, if he had taken that as an injunction to go out and try and start a revolution.
Mm,
But instead, being a simple and direct soul, he looked around, yeah, this church is a mess. So he started fixing the church that he was in. And that marked the beginning of a beneficent revolution instead of just a bunch of bursts of turmoil, and one rooted in taking care, accepting God's call. He didn't mean to found a religious order. When he did stumble, and the way he put it is, God gave me brothers. Suddenly people showed up to join him. Uh, well, now we need a name. What are we going to call ourselves? Fratres minores, little brothers. So friars coming from fratres, little brothers, little brothers. No grandiose ambitions. Reform the church, save the world. Just take care of this problem right in front of us. And if you have enough people taking care of this problem right in front of you, you've got a good chance of pulling through
Hmm.
just about anything.
Right. What's that C.S. Lewis line? What would the world look like if everyone really did try to live out Christian virtues for 10 years?
Well,
The world would be a remarkably different place.
for 10 years, and just do what's in front of you.
Hmm.
Nothing grandiose, depending on your position in life. What's in front of you might be big. Or I haven't seen the movie. From what you say, you've got a ordinary man who's suddenly thrust into an extraordinary situation. That might happen.
What about the people who look at themselves and they realize they do have a special talent, even a spectacular talent? Do we have to migrate towards the problems that
They have
we
to,
see the world is saddled with?
they have to go into that field,
Mm-hmm.
but work in that field. Certainly Moses worked a great deal.
Most
My generation is probably the last generation to have been taught Thomas Edison's quip. It's a good quip, though. It should be taught again. Genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. Uh, they should be directed to go into the field where they're talented and to work in that field.
which means having patience for the mundane.
Having patience for the mundane,
Is that,
do their work. And no matter what the field is, not all that work is going to be exciting. that go into their field, get the proper education for their field, and do their work.
I've thought about this too, a little bit, because there's definitely a movement where people kind of throw up online. And they think that that's
Throw up online. I'm getting vision. That gives me a mental picture.
it's like
The
they're
digital vomitorium.
yeah, because they're like, I am so angry about whatever. And I know exactly how it works, and you just do as I say, and anyone who counteracts that opinion is wrong and false, and you need to look at what I'm thinking. And if people just did what I said, the world would be a great place.
Is the problem the internet gave people the impression that they could have a global audience without the necessary preparation to be worthy of a global audience?
I think so.
Hmm.
Because then
There are people who are worthy of a global audience, right? The
Totally.
world does need to hear what they have to offer,
yeah,
but maybe the internet convinced everyone that
they are that.
because everyone could hear me, therefore everyone ought to hear me. Is that true to say?
I
Does that
think
happen to people?
Oh, yes.
I think that happened to people. Wouldn't it be great if I had 1 million views in a day?
That'd be an impressive number.
because now it's like people think they should be the ones that save the world. So now they have a savior complex, and they think, well, if everyone just did what I thought they should do, then the world would be a great place.
It's one step more annoying than that because they're not actually doing the work. They're just telling
Yeah.
others what that work should be.
Telling everyone else what they ought to be doing.
Yeah, Theodore Roosevelt,
Yeah.
famous speech about
So
that.
good.
I can't do justice to his rant, but the essence of his rant was, I only want to hear from people who are in the fight.
Hmm.
So I don't want to hear about what should be done from people on the sidelines.
He wouldn't have been interested in Greta Thunberg
Oh my,
climbing up on top of the mast.
my heavens, what have you done? I need more rye.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. You mean the famous,
Yeah,
the famous Aryan doomsayer?
well, we were just talking about her with Jake last week, right?
Oh yeah, Joe
Yeah.
Rogan's rant on her.
Oh,
He had a good rant on her.
I
Was a
wasn't.
good ranter
I haven't heard that particular
He
rant.
went 5 minutes
with good
just
reason.
destroying her. He was so upset. And
Hmm.
honestly, so like he's probably one of the most well-studied guys in that area now with environmentalism. Because he was in the liberal side and he's like, okay, I need to figure out the answer. And he had all the people on from both sides, read all their books, and they came to the conclusion, it's like, yep, it's all poop from a horse.
The case made by the doomsayers
Yes.
is fiction
Essentially,
The worst they
designed to
get.
sell books.
it's fiction. Everything we do is bad. About the time a friend of mine was getting his doctorate in astrophysics, the University of Arizona was building an observatory on a remote mountain. But, for a certain kind of greenie, certain kind of environmentalists, nothing we do is ever good. An observatory is a quiet kind of thing once you build it. It's not going to be terribly disruptive, but nonetheless, it was really bad. So my friend, there's going to be a public debate on campus. My friend is one of the graduate students. He was going to debate for the astronomers' side why this observatory is a good thing.
Even though we have to cut down some trees to build it.
Be a little bit disruptive, but honestly, not very. Once we're done building it, an observatory is a very quiet kind of place.
Mm-hmm.
Then his opponent, one of the Greens, and I asked him how it went. I said, I think the audience preferred my position. I said, was that because of facts and logic? And he said, well, no, probably it's because I smelled better. The Greenies are a strange bunch. And everything human is objectionable to them. And if we had to live in the Stone Age again, and most of the human population die of starvation, they wouldn't seem to mind. Under their influence, Germany has come as close to committing suicide as any nation ever has, any modern nation, deciding that, oh, well, we'll just close down our nuclear power system. Instead of nuclear power, we're going to rely only on clean energy. Not to the surprise of people who took a close look at it, the clean energy sources proved radically incapable of supplying enough energy for the German economy. So they had to rely on what?
Russian oil.
Russian natural gas.
To run
Yes.
dynamos?
Yes.
How do you
Dynamos.
to produce electricity?
Yes.
Did the green energy prove less green than it was vaunted to be?
Certainly.
5 times less efficient than
Well,
conventional.
efficiency, but did they actually have a greater carbon footprint than they were?
Well, I don't know if they're going to call
Then
it a footprint, but they have effects of their own.
Mm-hmm.
What bothered me is that no matter what we propose, they're against it.
Mm-hmm.
Hydroelectric dams, bad. Nuclear power, bad. Okay.
Back to coal? Bad.
Big wind turbines. No, birds get killed on big wind turbines. Bad. I'm exaggerating, but I don't think I'm exaggerating by much. I don't think the more fanatical ones, I don't think they'd mind if we went back to the Stone Age and most of the human race disappeared. The most fanatical ones, we, the human race, are the problem.
Right. And it is religious.
Yes, we are the problem. And you look at the rhetorical question. How can you look at a human being and not be impressed? Is it there's just so many of us, we seem common? We are amazing. Whether it's I love the opposable thumb.
Right.
Whether it's the opposable
5 out of 5 stars. Yeah.
Whether it's the opposable thumb or whistling little Mozart tunes or the odd habit of climbing Mount Everest.
And our games.
Yeah. Listening to Beethoven's symphony, playing soccer.
Dancing.
Really quite marvelous. There's another side to us. And much of religion is about dealing with that other side. But you have to begin by saying we are marvelous. That's what I'm missing. One thing that irks me, you can tell, irks me enormously in the green crowd is that they don't look at us and say, we are marvelous. Every single one of us, from conception to natural death, is marvelous.
I did a math exercise where I was trying to figure out how much weight a person moves every day just by walking.
Oh.
So the average weight of a person, I think, is 160 pounds or something.
Making me feel fat.
No. Well, I'm above that too. Maybe it's 190. It might be 190. And then the average steps a day is 5,100. So I added it up, and it's like each person moves about 200 tons of weight every day just by walking.
On the physical level, I know someone who kind of a wild experiment, but he wanted to prove that human beings can walk down antelope. They're capable of bursts of speed, but relentless walking of human beings eventually overtake them. Even physically, we're not to be trifled with.
We have the most endurance.
Glorious. I had a college course in human evolution. I don't know what effect it was supposed to have. If it was meant to have an effect. Might not have been. But right from the start of the class all the way through, everything just convinced me that we are weird and weird in a good way. That we are in this world and partly of this world. Oh Lord, by the time I finished that class, I knew more about hominid dental structures than I ever wanted to know or could possibly remember. Uh, Physical, yes, very physical, even physically kind of wonderful. The class talked about human sight, our vision, even physically kind of wonderful, but what the class in human evolution could only hint at, but cannot begin to explain, is the power of the human mind to imagine and to create. Yeah, love me with the conviction. Yes, we are of this world, but not only of this world. We're in this world, but there's something almost instantly unworldly about us.
Hmm.
And I suspect from early on, human beings sensed that.
About each other and about themselves.
Yes, we're different. Not totally different. A lot of similarities. Once when I was in Lander, I got entertained during breakfast by watching two young bucks clash with each other on my front yard. And I thought, those could be college students.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mammal kind of thing to do. So, yeah, we're an awful lot like our animal relatives, up to including a capacity for violence. I saw a piece about a chimpanzee colony that just went through a nasty civil war.
Oof. Yeah, that was wild.
That was wild. And yet, well, they're not writing Mozart symphonies, are they?
Mm.
Speaking of monkeys, Penn State just did a study. They just remapped the genome of humans and genome of monkeys, or specific the ones what they were told to come from. There's a 17% difference.
Hmm.
So that whole theory of us coming from a gene mutation just got kicked out the window.
Well, even if it were true, it was very much the accepted theory when I was taking that course some time ago.
Yeah.
Even if it were true, one of the first things we had to do for that course, go down to the DC Zoo, spend an afternoon watching the primates, and write what we noticed. And I half entertained and half irritated my professor when I wrote, well, the first thing I noticed is that they're in the cage and we're outside. And we're watching them. There's a big difference here. Such a dramatic difference that it can't be accounted for by mere genetics. The genetics are so close. I defy people. I don't see a purely naturalistic way to explain the things that human beings do. I'll try to explain it in terms of survival mechanisms, right? Climbing Mount Everest, I don't know.
That's an anti-survival mechanism. Because it's there.
It's there.
Right. What's at the top? A pot of gold? No. More snow is at the top. Let's go see it.
Crying when you hear a particular piece of music.
Mm.
Writing that piece of music.
Painting.
Art is a signature of man, great Chesterton line. I imagine that the art of the earliest human beings is probably totally irretrievable. We don't have retrievable human art until, well, we have some probably pieces of jewelry, but we don't have much retrievable human art until the year of the cave paintings.
Mm-hmm.
I like that line, art is a signature of man. We create art and we wonder.
When you see those articles about elephants painting paintings, is your reaction to say, yes, the elephants are painting paintings, captured elephants that were given a paintbrush by human beings?
Well, they're doing stuff with the paintbrush.
Mm-hmm.
Doing stuff with the paintbrush, it's quite different from artistic creation.
Mm-hmm.
So them doing stuff with the paintbrush, that's frankly is not evidence of artistry.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I was curious if you thought, well, animals are usually doing this when doing these things that are then argued to resemble human activity, mostly when they're in close contact with
Right.
humans.
There is animal intelligence, and they're quite capable of imitating human beings. But there's also how do you define artistic activity? Well, doing something with a paintbrush. I don't think that's adequate.
Hmm. Tom, say more about this study. What was it concluding?
Oh, so there was the evolution theory based on that we came from apes of a genetic study was that there was like a 0.05% difference in genetics.
As in, we share a high percentage of genetic building blocks with other primates. Okay.
And the theory is that one primate at one point of time had a genetic mutation that became human,
Mm-hmm.
and that was Adam. And he was less furry.
My contention is a bit different from that. Even if, and that's an interesting thing, statisticians have had questions about this. Uh, is the explanation of evolution in terms of random genetic mutations statistically plausible within the time frame within which we operate?
Mm.
So some statisticians have debated that, and I don't think I'm able to weigh in on that. But my contention is, even if it's true, it's not an adequate explanation for us and the things we do.
Mhm.
We are just so different from the animal kingdom, so incredibly dramatically different. We forget just how different. Uh,
Well,
and every day we look around us and we see these dramatic differences. We see them because we see them every day. We take them for granted.
mhm.
Here we are making our podcast. What long lineages of creativity are behind every single aspect of this podcast, from the technology to the books to the. No, we're the wonder of the world. Can't escape it. For some reason, we want to escape it.
Mm.
We don't want to think of ourselves as unique. We don't want to be alone in the cosmos. We have fantasies about aliens. Uh, the answer, of course, is we're not alone in the cosmos. But that answer brings us into the realm of faith. And the theological understanding of man, that we share kinship with the animals. And it's a real kinship. It is a real kinship. Embraces a certain kind of intelligence we have in common, a certain range of emotions we have in common. Real kinship with the animals. In that sense, we're not alone. But also real kinship with an entirely different kind of being. Probably different kind of being, a real kinship with the angels. Most of the fallen angels. So we operate in more than one universe.
Hmm.
We operate in the physical universe and the spiritual one at the same time.
Hmm.
And that's what's wonderful about us and unique.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah, Tom, I guess I don't find it very alarming to think that we share a lot of genetic kinship with primates. Does that idea feel alarming to you in some way?
Well, I guess to me, it's like if Adam was the father of all man,
Uh-huh.
then technically his dad, who's a monkey, is the father of all man.
Well, at some point,
So it's like,
yeah, at some point there's an
oh God.
intersection between a biological story And a spiritual story hesitates somewhat because God is involved in both of them. Yes, but you're right. At some point, how should I put this? Instead of evolution, which in many ways I accept, you can see this. As I said, I learned more about early hominid dental structures than I could possibly remember. Cannot tell you how much I enjoyed studying for those tests. What kind of teeth did Australopithecus africanus have? Clearly, there is I think clearly there's a physical evolution. But at some point, instead of just evolution, there is revolution. There is, I don't know how to put it, another kind of Big Bang moment. Something new is injected into the world.
And that the new study essentially has said that it is impossible that mankind came from apes.
How do they articulate that?
Because a 17% change in genome
Mm-hmm.
would be literally rewriting so many lines of code
Mm-hmm.
that it's statistically impossible for that to happen.
Impossible is always a strong word. I would say this. We speak of evolution. We are speaking of it's as though we're speaking of 100,000 piece jigsaw puzzle and we have 200 of the pieces. And maybe 1,000 of the pieces. And so on the basis of what pieces we do have, we attempt to reconstruct intelligently and imaginatively. We attempt to reconstruct the history of life and the prehistory of man. I myself have I have no real qualms about. I'm kind of fascinated with ever since one of my friends in second grade had a normal second grade obsession with dinosaurs, but it's a normal second grade obsession. But for him, it developed into a real interest in paleobiology. And I share some of his interest, although I don't have his depth of knowledge of it. But paleobiology supports the broad idea of evolution, although we don't mean by it today quite what was meant in the 19th century. It seems that today we envision it as not quite so steady and even a progression. It seems to have bursts and mountains and plains, so to speak, bursts and long periods of stability. Life has a history. That's how I sum up evolution. Life has a history. There's one friend of mine who was very irritated when I summed it up that way. Evolution means much more than life has a history. Well, I don't think so. Whereas I can tell it's saying that life has a history, and a history that to some extent we can tell, and that to some extent we can explain in intelligible terms. But come back to my conviction. It's a core conviction that there is more to us, not only more to us than is currently explained by evolution, but there's more to us than can be explained. We don't entirely fit, partially fit. We don't entirely fit into the history of life that we're able to intelligibly construct to some degree. I mean, still, I go back to that image. It's a big jigsaw puzzle, and we've only got a few of the pieces. So it's something speculative about what we do. I'm old enough to know how our notion of what the dinosaurs were has changed. As we acquire more pieces of the puzzle, we can expect this to happen. when it comes to our specifically human evolution, we have more pieces of the puzzle than we did when I took the college course, but not that many more. It's still
Not an order of magnitude more.
right. It's still a mysterious picture to us. Some things we go back and forth on. I've tried to keep track of this. Before I went to college, the assumption was that modern man and Neanderthals are two quite different species. When I was in college, the assumption was that if a Neanderthal man in modern clothing sat on the bench next to you, you'd not be instantly alarmed. Uh, so are they a subspecies rather than a separate species? And then after my college days, no, they're different species. They're really quite different. And now it seems to have swung back that, yeah, there was some intermarriage between Neanderthals and modern man. Yeah, we have a few more pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, but we're still being imaginative, somewhat speculative.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's a legitimate endeavor. Yes, it's a legitimate endeavor. But it doesn't replace the need for philosophy and theology to explain man. We cannot be explained in merely physical naturalistic terms. Some philosophy is required, and even some theology is required. To understand us requires a supernatural revelation. In the divine image, he created him, male and female, he created them. To fully understand us is to understand in some way we're made in the divine image. A mysterious decision by God at the beginning of the human adventure that was reaffirmed when the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. What a sentence that is. The old liturgy, when the last gospel was read, verbum caro factum est rapitavit nobis, instructions for the priest were to genuflect. And that sentence should bring you to your knees. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. This gives us although we still have our kinship with the animal world, we do things that animals do. We still have our kinship with the animal world, but we really have a divine aura to us. In the beginning, because we're made in God's image and likeness, and in the fullness of time, because the Word became flesh and dwelt among us.
Your career has been marked by an interest in recorded history, the history of civilization.
Yes.
Do you think civilization itself is going through a distinct progression?
Well, civilization has a history, no question.
Uh-huh.
And there is room for a notion of progress.
Yeah. Do you get hot under the collar when people say things like, "Oh, history always repeats itself"?
It doesn't repeat itself. It doesn't. It rhymes. I don't remember who said that. I didn't make it up, but I like it.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't repeat itself. It rhymes.
That might have been Churchill.
Might have been.
All memorable quotes redound back to Churchill.
Yeah, have you noticed that?
Yes.
It has certain patterns you can expect because of consistencies in human nature. But in certain fields of human endeavor, there certainly is progress. This is very clear in the sciences. It's very clear in technology. Joseph Ratzinger, one of the greatest Catholic theologians ever, on whom God placed the great cross of having to be Pope. Joseph Ratzinger explored the idea, important idea, that in religion there is such a thing as progress, even as a human endeavor, proceeding for a moment from divine revelation. So yes, certainly there's an idea of progress. It's not merely circular. And that's essential for Christianity. It is, as far as I know, it is the Indian religious tradition that thinks of human history as essentially circular. But Judeo-Christian tradition insists that human history is essentially linear. story has a beginning, it has a linear progression. And it will have an end that is without end. An end without end, eternal life with God. There is as theologians and philosophers, as theological types say, there is a teleology in human history. It has a purpose. It has a destiny. Yeah, so I do not use the expression history repeats itself. It rhymes with itself.
But perhaps you do get frustrated when people talk about the human race as dust motes flying through the cosmos to no particular purpose or effect upon the cosmos itself. That's too much of an extrapolation. We don't know what effect.
Well, we don't know. That's
actually have.
Begs the question: why particularly should we have an effect on the cosmos? And why should we embarrass? Why should we somehow feel insignificant if we don't have an effect on the cosmos? I'm quite sure that what I am saying and doing right now has no bearing on whatever may be in the middle of the Andromeda galaxy. Why should it? This does not bother me at all. The immensity of the physical universe that we're beginning to grasp just brings home to me how wonderful our home is. And I'll add, the sheer immensity of the physical universe is unimpressive compared to the idea of God. Because no matter how much you multiply the size of the physical universe, it is still infinitely less, logically, infinitely less than an infinite being. So to God, I'm sure it's all quite cozy and homelike. Grand as it seems, grand and daunting as it seems to us, that's fine. We've got our home. That's enough. Our home is a wonderful place. There's some quite wonderful people in our home. And I come back to this. It is in this little home, this particular corner of the universe, that a being was made in the image and likeness of God, partaking of animal nature and angelic nature at the same time. And it's in this place, in this corner of the universe, that the eternal Word through whom the whole universe was made became flesh.
And it happened on this earth.
Happened on this earth.
Which makes this earth.
So let's stop being so darn modest about it.
A rather special place.
We don't get to be modest about everything.
We don't get to be modest about everything.
So worth shouting and proclaiming. I was in high school.
Maybe, lovers know that.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. You wouldn't want someone to be modest about their beloved, would you?
Right.
She's just normal.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, that would not be impressive, would it? That would not be healthy, even.
That's not worth going to Troy for.
That's right. Certainly not worth 10 years before the gates of Ilium.
Like Helen had to be an 11 out of 10. She was a 2 out of 10. I don't think they would have.
Helen must have been astonishing.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun?
Well, thought about worse things.
Wouldn't that be fun? A novel about the tangential to the story, something delving more into the personality of Helen, right?
Especially with
story does give us some very definite episodes with her.
It's true.
Between her and Odysseus and between her and other men.
She definitely was a little crazy.
What do you have in mind?
Oh, there's a time when she's like pouring wine out for all the guests and she's saying like some pretty wild things. I think it's in the Odyssey.
I'm not recalling the.
I need to go back.
Recalling it.
Virginia was talking about it.
I don't have any of that with me. I just have some Shakespeare.
Okay.
Not Troilus and Cressida.
Yeah. But Dr. Virginia was like reading between lines. She's like, you can tell this woman is definitely dealing with some psychological trouble from so many men dying for her.
So we,
And she knows she could have topped it.
could she have?
Well, that's a good question.
From Homer's point of view, this was the will of the gods.
Ah, that's a really good point.
She was cut up in
Well,
it.
Unless,
It would make you a little crazy to consider that maybe the will of the gods caught you up in a way that
yeah,
affected your own agency. That could make you a little crazy.
Well,
especially.
everyone's agency. I believe in human free will, certainly, but it's not an absolute. Everyone's agency is somewhat constrained by external events, isn't it?
Yes.
There are some choices that are more available to us than others.
Mhm.
And all of us are to some degree caught up in events beyond our control.
Even though we're participants in
We're
them.
participants in them. We didn't ask for them. We're caught up in them.
Right.
The famous Fellowship of the Rings line. Yeah. I wish I did not live in such times as this. It's not for you to decide. For us to decide is what to do with the times we are given, which is to say, we are going to be caught up in things beyond our control. The Homeric way to put it is the will of the gods. Fine. Call it fate. A Christian sees around all of this a certain divine providence that doesn't control our actions, but that does weave them into a plan, a work of salvation. Yeah, we're caught up in things that are beyond our control. And I think the Homeric way of capturing that is the will of the gods.
That's even a more interesting question is how charismatic was Menelaus to win Helen?
Hmm.
And then how was charismatic was Paris to steal? You know, it's
Yeah.
or were they
That second event is depicted as the blessing of Aphrodite upon his efforts. No?
Well, yes,
Am I
but
misremembering that?
Tom's onto something.
Yeah.
The blessing of Aphrodite is a way of describing charisma. It's
Hmm.
like Julius Caesar, as I said earlier. I think, I just don't know, but I think he may have taken seriously the idea that he was a descendant of Venus,
Right.
that, yeah, there were gifts of the gods.
Mm-hmm.
His way of understanding exceptional charisma, which he endowed.
And in a certain way, you think there's a certain humility in that, well, I sort of received this thing.
There is a kind of humility in that, in a paradoxical kind of way. I am gifted. I didn't create this. I didn't create me.
well, and there's
Aren't I'm proud I'm me.
Right. But boy, do I enjoy being me. Right. I didn't build this Ferrari, but damn, I enjoy driving it. Huh.
because
But Tom, you're thinking that there's a sort of an untold story in the career of Helen. We only get hints of.
yeah, like how did Menelaus and her meet?
Huh?
What was his pickup line? What was got her interested in him enough that she would marry him?
Was it arranged?
Was it arranged?
Is arranged. You guys correct me if I'm wrong.
Unhesitatingly.
Right? Am I correct in understanding that there's hints that Odysseus and Helen had a romantic inclination towards each other?
I'm not recalling that,
Okay.
but it's been.
Call Cooper.
Call Cooper.
We need a classicist.
Yes.
Well,
Quick. We're in need of a class. Right.
Where's a
Quick
classicist?
to the classicist mobile.
The classicist hotline.
well, that wouldn't be too surprising because that's been a common theme that intelligence is a big attractiveness. Like Feynman.
I would explain the amorous success of the famous and scandalous French minister Talleyrand, French foreign minister. He was
Mr. He never saw a regime that he couldn't outlive.
Never saw a regime he couldn't outlive, and along the way he conquered many ladies. He was Bishop of Perigord when the revolution broke out. He was the only French bishop, only one to renounce his faith at the time of the revolution.
Interesting.
When the revolution turned anti-Christian, became foreign minister for the Republic, voted for the execution of Louis XVI. Cynical but reality-based. He offended the government of the terror, actually had to flee and go to America. Governor of the terror came. Governor of the terror fell. He returned to France, again as foreign minister of the Republic. The Republic was corrupt and incompetent beyond redemption. He was one of the people responsible for helping Napoleon come to power, Napoleon's foreign minister. Napoleon broke with him because he would not listen. Napoleon did not like listening to Talleyrand's more cautious advice.
Just a little closer to
Napoleon reacted so badly at one point that in front of the whole court, he told Talleyrand, "You are a silk stocking full of shit." Talleyrand started working against Napoleon. Napoleon's regime fell. Talleyrand was the foreign minister for the restored Bourbon monarchy. Yeah, quite a survivor. On the way, was quite a womanizer. There was a minor diplomatic kerfluffle with Talleyrand, French foreign minister. American ambassador was Gouverneur Morris. He was paralyzed from the waist down. But from the waist up, he was a bodybuilder. And was quite proud of it. So he was vain enough to let himself be used as a model from the waist up. At one point, Gouverneur Morris, the American ambassador, and the French foreign minister shared the same mistress.
Oh.
How's that awkward for secrets getting passed to?
Yes.
But he certainly had no physical charisma. Pictures of him are unimpressive. No physical charisma, but he certainly had another kind of charisma. But that must have been his intelligence.
A self-assurance?
His self-assurance. Yes, like a cat. He always is up on his feet. Governments rise and fall, but he's in charge. And with a certain flair. I mentioned that he voted for the execution of Louis XVI. Years pass. He's foreign minister for Louis XVIII. And he'd give his advice to Louis XVIII. And at one point, Louis XVIII was irritated with him. Less crude than Napoleon. Louis XVIII said, "Remember, I have not forgotten that you voted for my brother's execution." And very smoothly, Talleyrand said, "This was the first service I was able to perform for your majesty."
Wow, that's long before you even asked for it. Yeah.
Wow.
Not an inspiring figure, and yet I feel this myself, and lots of people do. Do you feel ever something of an attraction to the clever rogue?
Mm-hmm.
I feel this myself, and maybe I shouldn't, but there's a certain attraction for the clever rogue.
Like a Zorro figure?
Yeah. This Tolerance case more cynical.
Yeah.
But the clever rogue, he gets away with it. He's not even shy about being a rogue. Maybe it's part of the attraction. He's not a hypocrite.
Right. He's not pious.
Senator Francis E. Warren of the fine state of Wyoming. It was said of him that he served the state of Wyoming, the city of Cheyenne, and Francis E. Warren, not necessarily in that order.
Right.
But he served all three well. Served Wyoming wonderfully. Served the city of Cheyenne wonderfully. When the Army was closing down its frontier bases, frontier military posts, Francis E. Warren was in the U.S. Senate by that time, and he made sure that the one at Cheyenne, Fort D.A. Russell, was not only was it not shut down, it was expanded into a brigade post, which in due course was named Fort Warren, and eventually Warren Air Force Base. But he was entirely open about, yeah, I do lots of things behind closed doors and under the table.
And he wasn't ashamed of
A
that.
bold reporter once said to him, Senator Warren, how do you respond to accusations that you engage in underhand dealing? And Senator Warren said, well, good heavens, man, you don't go hunting ducks with a brass band. That's a good Wyoming line.
That's a great line. Good heavens, man. You know, hunting ducks with a
With a brass band.
That's awesome.
Oh,
is the attraction of the rogue the idea
the
that
clever rogue.
the clever rogue.
He's not a hypocrite.
Hmm.
He may be treacherous, but he doesn't pretend to be what he's not.
Maybe is that part of the attraction?
Probably part of the attraction.
There's an element of he's very honest in his
Honest
desire. Right.
It's the
He's very open. I'm not trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to do my thing. And you know that I'm trying to do my thing. And
yeah.
and I'm okay with you knowing it.
And along the way, I'm going to give you good advice. I'll be a good foreign minister for you. Or as his comrade in crime, Joseph Fouché, he was to secret police what Talleyrand was to foreign policy. No matter who the government was, he was in charge of the secret police. And he had a similar kind of personality.
Because after a certain point, there's no one else who could be in charge of the secret police.
He knew all the secrets. And even Napoleon knew he knew all the secrets.
Hmm.
Which is one reason he kept being, no matter who the government was.
Right.
No matter who the head of government was, Joseph Fouché was going to be the
Yeah, just become an institution.
An institution, not a reputable institution. At one point, the French writer Chateaubriand, signal book of the French Catholic revival of the 19th century, Genius of Catholicism by Chateaubriand. At one point, he describes seeing, at this point, elderly Talleyrand and Fouché going down the stairs of a government building and helping each other down the stairs. And Chateaubriand wrote, behold, the picture of vice supported by crime. Now that's a zinger.
Right.
That is a zinger.
Behold, the picture of vice supported by crime.
Hmm. Right. But if you want to run successful foreign diplomacy, Talleyrand was a gun for hire.
He was a gun for hire.
But you got what you paid for, right?
Exactly. You got what you paid for. He was worth the price.
Hmm.
And he'd give you good advice if you were willing to listen. Occasionally he stumbled. Ooh. When the United States was first building the U.S. Navy, one of the ships of the original U.S. Navy is still in commission, by the way. USS Constitution.
Yeah, still sailing.
Still in commission. The Navy has a small forest whose only purpose, a managed forest, so agricultural operation, its only purpose is to keep providing wood for the USS Constitution.
That's awesome.
But when the U.S. Navy was first getting started and we had come to a parting of the ways with the French Republic, we were allied to France because from the Revolutionary War. But the French Republic decided to declare war on Britain. And George Washington, no one's fool, thought, why should we go to war with Britain merely because the French government is insane? So Washington decided to ignore the treaty obligation on the grounds, which really irritated the French Republic, on the grounds that, well, we signed a treaty with the Kingdom of France, not the Republic of France. So, yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
They were not amused. So in their irritation, at one point, they were unleashing French privateers against American shipping. And President Adams, who was desperately building up the Navy, we didn't have one, He sent ambassadors to Paris to negotiate this.
Say, would you stop it?
Talleyrand was willing to. It was one of his few blunders. It was a blunder. He asked for a bribe.
Like a personal bribe.
Personal bribe.
Not a bribe to France.
Personal bribe. The American ambassadors informed President Adams, the American ambassador informed President Adams of this. I don't know if Gouverneur Morris was the ambassador then or not, but anyway, it would have given another reason to be mad at Talleyrand. Informed Adams of this. Adams did not reveal this to Congress, but the other party, Democrat-Republican Party, they thought they were firmly against conflict with France. And they thought that this secret message contained news that France was willing to negotiate with us. So they kept insisting, read the message, read the message, read the message. Adams, he had them where he was.
The Talleyrand files?
Yes.
Yeah. Open the Talleyrand file.
Exactly. Oh my God. History rhymes.
Yeah.
Open the Talleyrand file. Okay. Adams, who was facing resistance in building up the Navy and the Army, see, he could be clever too. He wanted to reveal what Talleyrand did.
But he wanted his enemy to ask for it.
He's to demand that it be revealed. He revealed it. The country went wild with anger. So the saying was, millions for defense, but not 1 cent for tribute. So suddenly, he who could not get any funding for the Navy and Army at all, now Congress couldn't give him enough money. The biggest Navy we can possibly construct. Millions for defense, but not 1 cent for tribute. One of Talleyrand's few mistakes. And our new Navy, in its maiden run, I have to say, it taught the French Navy a valuable lesson. That even at that early stage, we were not to be trifled with. The undeclared naval war with France.
Where were they recruiting their naval officer corps?
Well, that's an interesting question. Mainly from the American Merchant Marine.
So men who already knew how to sail.
They knew how to sail. We had a well-developed Merchant Marine. We just no ability to protect it. So we need to create a Navy to protect our Merchant Marine, which is expanding so rapidly. We couldn't get enough sailors. Here's where we began to slide into conflict with Britain. In the American Merchant Marine and the American Navy, a quarter of the sailors were British subjects. Britain was at war with France and had a hard time filling up its navy. Famously practicing impressment. Very irritating to the British. More than irritating. That quarter.
These were gangs of sailors sent to coastal areas to say, you there, you're a sailor now. Yeah. Wait, who, me? Yes, exactly.
You. They practiced impressment, and it really annoyed them. They couldn't impress sailors on American vessels, a quarter of whom were British. Eventually, they did start doing that, and that began to slide into the War of 1812. That's another subject.
Wow. It's neat to hear about how good the American sailors were versus other countries, because they got so good at sailing and they would weather any storm that they started filling up more and more of the docks around the world. And it became such a thing that everyone wanted to start sending it by American because they didn't really care.
Yes, our Merchant Marine expanded rapidly.
Yeah.
The Navy, famously, starting with the Constitution class, the Navy had a new build of frigate that the rest of the world didn't understand.
Oh, the shallow draft frigate?
Yes, but also carrying more guns than other frigates and yet as maneuverable as other frigates,
Hmm.
despite the extra weight of metal.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Oh, John has few mistakes. Although, to his credit,
Just openly asking for a bribe. That's
asking for that, that's how he was.
right. Right. We could do this. Do you think you could give me a small consideration? Yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't expect that the Americans would, since we were only just starting to have a navy,
Hmm.
he didn't expect that we would react the way we did. And didn't anticipate this is what President Adams wanted. He was trying to get funding for his navy, having a very difficult time getting it past Congress until that insult. Millions for defense, but not 1 cent for tribute.
It's wild.
That was a wild time.
Hmm.
That reminds me of the rogue guy you're talking about, the clever rogue.
The clever rogue. The weirdly honest rogue who never pretends not to be a rogue.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard about Project X. Have you heard about that story?
I've not.
You heard about this, Jonathan?
Doesn't ring a bell. Okay.
So now,
Marks a spot.
It does.
yeah, um, it was a high schooler in Australia. Um, had a party at his parents' house when they were gone for the weekend. And somehow it turned into one of the most crazy, insane, wild riot type parties ever recorded. Like,
Oh, they made a movie of this.
yeah, they were like burning cars in the streets, blowing stuff up like crazy. It was like it started like with him inviting 20 friends and then ended up with like being 500 kids. Mm, 2005, I think.
Wow.
So pretty recent. But
Huh. Send out an invite on MySpace.
he might have.
Huh.
But he was being interviewed by the news station and they were like, "Are you sorry for what you did?" He's like,
No.
"No." And they're like, "Do you apologize to your parents?" He's like, "I'm sorry that I didn't tell them about it. They let me with the house and I
I'm
just
sorry that there's a Humvee in the pool, but
yeah."
once we get that out, I'll fetch out the beer
Well,
bottles.
and it's not the same though. That's just destruction.
Yeah.
The 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 clever rogue that I have the weakness for is someone who he's like what I said about Francis E. Warren. Served the state of Wyoming, city of Cheyenne, Francis E. Warren, not necessarily in that order.
Mm-hmm.
He's out, he intends to do well for himself, but along the way, he performs a good service,
Mm.
like Tolerant, the hired gun in
The
Fort
hired gun. Right. But a very reliable hired
Yeah.
gun.
You hire him and you listen to
Mm,
it. It's good advice if you listen to it.
maybe that's like the fascination with gangster movies, like Godfather and things like that, because it seems like their lives and their ways shouldn't work, but their code of honor is very strict in some
Here's
things.
the thing. I'm a fan of the first two Godfather movies. The third one must just be sentenced to damnatio memoriae and
Mm. Right. It
never.
is an abortion.
It's
I've
beyond
only
bad.
seen the first one.
Oh, the second one is necessary.
Oh,
It is, yeah.
essential because you put the first two together. It's hard to believe that some of the geniuses, some of the same geniuses responsible for one and two could have been involved in three. Anyway, damnatio memoriae for three.
Oops.
One and two, I think the point of them, it's a wonderful point, is that it doesn't work.
Mm.
That the main character, who starts out as decent but shallow, clever, decent and clever but shallow in the first movie, by the end of the second one is not just a monster capable of cold-bloodedly killing his brother, not just a monster, but a lonely monster. It ends with him alone on that park bench,
Mm.
having lost his family.
His hair just starting to go gray.
Yeah, hair's starting to go gray. He's lost his family, destroyed all his enemies, lost his family. It, that's what the great thing about those movies is. It makes it so clear, and not in a heavy-handed way. And yet, though not heavy-handed, unmistakably clear, it fails. This way of life fails. So no, he's not the clever rogue. He doesn't have that ability to sense when
Enough is enough.
enough is enough. Yeah, not to over. He doesn't over.
Hmm.
He overcommits himself to this particular path.
Yeah,
And
all right,
destroys it.
there's a great way in which you could line up the way in which the Godfather runs the business versus the way Michael runs the business. And if you line up decisions made in the first movie and the second movie.
And that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
The old Godfather is much more. Oh, that's good. The old Godfather is much more the likable rogue. He knows he's a rogue. He also provides a certain service.
Right, which we see in the flashbacks in the second movie.
Precisely.
Right. That he is, in fact, helping the neighborhood. Not just himself.
Exactly. He does well for himself. He does well for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he's capable of being ruthless. But he is what he is. Doesn't pretend to be anything else. He does not overcommit himself. Even what leads to the assassination scheme in the first movie, that comes from his instinct not to want to overcommit himself. He's not grandiose.
Doesn't want to get involved in the drug trade.
Yes. He's got his business. It's not legal. It's not good for people. But he also performs a neighborhood service for people who don't have access to the regular legal system. Admirable. Yes, no.
Well,
Is what he is.
Well, and last time we spoke about this, and it was off air, but I don't think it's a spoiler to say that in the second Godfather movie, Michael orders someone more or less to be framed for murder, which means he has to more or less, and which means he has to produce a dead body. And there's this parallel and yet this deepening of Michael's evil in that in the first movie, the Godfather makes sure that the unbearable Hollywood producer wakes up to find a dead horse in his bed. Right.
Oh, yeah.
In the second movie, the unbearable
senator,
the unbearable politician wakes up, but he finds a dead person in his bed. And so there's this way in which, oh my gosh, Michael has gone beyond what his father would ever have been willing to do.
Yes. He's genuinely evil. Genuinely evil. And the first movie makes that clear in a way that if you have any religious sensibilities, get your hair stands on end and chills go up and down your spine. Because the filmmaker, I've never seen evil depicted more effectively. I've seen it depicted melodramatically, but never so effectively. The filmmaker intersperses scenes of the baptism. Michael's the Godfather, scenes of him renouncing Satan. He intersperses that with scenes of people being murdered on his command. I've never seen a more chilling depiction of evil. Willing to stand and say these words.
Well, at the very same
he
time.
knows perfectly well people being murdered at his command, and he fully intends to murder his brother-in-law after the baptism. The father of the baby whose godfather he is, he firmly intends to murder him after the baptism. And all the time he's standing there piously saying those words. It's the most evil scene effectively evil scene I can think of. No melodrama too well. Yeah, no melodrama.
No Palpatine hitting people with lightning bolts.
Exactly.
Oof.
Exactly. It's that those first two movies are masterpieces of the art.
Right.
I think The Godfather is considered the greatest movie.
Has to be masterpieces of the art.
Yeah. I don't know what movie you throw up against it and say, oh, this other one is better.
No, not
Right.
better. No.
Right. Well, like what rival do you propose? Oh,
In its genre, unmatchable.
yeah.
There may be movies of a different genre,
That's
There are
good.
masterpieces of other genres.
yes,
Sure.
but in its genre, beyond rival.
Yeah. 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 It's
And
really
dealing with
something.
sin, it doesn't know how to address redemption, which is interesting, in a thoroughly incompetent way. The third movie actually did an honorable, and it was an honorable ambition, but failed catastrophically.
Right.
Didn't know how to address redemption. But the sin parts, the first two movies, the man's slide into evil, powerfully depicted. Uh,
Yeah, especially since you're so sympathetic with Michael early on.
you are sympathetic to him. Then after you watch both movies, and maybe watch both movies more than once,
Hmm.
realize from the very beginning, he was shallow,
He also,
clever, but shallow, ready to fall.
it's interesting when like his girlfriend is asking him about the family and he's telling them stories about him and then he finishes with saying, I'm not my family.
But he's proud of the stories, isn't he?
And the really interesting thing is the Godfather says family is the most important thing.
Hmm.
Don't put anything above the family. And the last scene of The Godfather is him playing with his grandson.
Hmm.
Like that's the last thing he's doing.
That's what he does.
Is enjoying
The
good.
family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the second movie, Michael has no family.
Mm.
Oh, that's what that scene. It brings a shudder, a genuine shudder, not the fake shudders of the horror movies, but genuine shudder. Hair starting to go gray by himself on a park bench, staring vacantly.
What have I done?
He has nothing. And
Especially since the beginning of that movie opens with him apparently at the height of all worldly blessings, right? This huge party out on the lake.
what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?
Hmm.
His schemes have succeeded. He has fought off a dangerous attack from that truly revolting in a totally banal way. Make sure everyone has a piece of the birthday cake.
Hmm.
That truly revolting, but a
Hyman
revolt.
Roth?
Hyman Roth.
Yeah.
Truly revolting, but revolting in a thoroughly but banal way.
Hmm.
He survived that terrible plot. He's beat off his enemies. He's overcome terrible challenges. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose himself? He has lost himself.
Yeah. Yep. I love what that. I think in both movies you see them using doorways very, very cleverly.
Ooh,
Yeah.
what's true?
First, Kate is looking at the end of the first movie. Kate's looking back at him greeting the lieutenants or representatives of other families, and she's in a rather close frame, so she occupies most of the screen. And then she looks back at Michael in another room, but he's framed inside a doorway. So 60% of the frame is just a blank wall, and then he's contained in this very small space. And she realizes he's becoming boxed in by this life he's chosen. So, and then in the second movie, when she's, how does it go? She's at the door and he shuts the
Yes, shuts the
door on
door.
her.
Doesn't say anything.
Right.
Just shuts the door.
Yeah. 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 There are these motifs that run through both that are worth considering.
I say masterpiece of the art.
Oh, masterpiece. Yep. Yep. How do 3 hours go by and you hardly notice, right? Yeah. There are. All right. I like that. There are other film masterpieces, but at least in this genre.
It's a genre that has, I suppose every genre has a great deal of dreck in it.
Mm-hmm.
But, Lord, for the most part, crime movies are terrible.
Which ones do you have in mind? Let's name some terrible crime movies.
Why don't you name a couple?
Oh, I think Goodfellas is overrated.
Badly.
Badly overrated.
Right.
Yeah. I think
Not a terrible move.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Right. What were we here for?
Mhm.
Okay, the walk into the Italian dinner, the one shot, them going down the stairs, weaving their way through the kitchen.
That's my favorite part of the movie.
It's a great scene. Have you seen it? You should.
And the music makes it.
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
Just seen the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. I thought Casino was what? I finished Casino.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to throw the remote through the television. I said, what? I've waited. I've been aware of Casino for probably a decade. I thought, oh, it's Sharon Stone and De Niro and Pesci. Like, of course, we have to see Casino, of course. And then you watch Casino and you think, what was the point of this story? And there's nothing. There's no point. Well, maybe there's a point that I didn't want to hear. I mean, I guess.
Life is a story told by an idiot full of sound and fury and signifying nothing.
Right. I never saw The Irishman, which was Scorsese's like big crime movie made for Netflix a few years ago. Okay. It made a bunch of noise, but I think that was mostly because Scorsese's name was attached to it.
Say anything.
Yeah.
Never saw it.
I think The Departed genuinely has some things to offer. Although Sasank would argue that it stumbles at the end.
What's that?
Joseph Sasank would argue that it stumbles pretty badly at the end.
They didn't know how to end it.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
I was following the movie with considerable interest until the thud of the end.
Which part? The action climax or the denouement?
But
all of it.
they didn't know how to end it.
Right. The big fiery shootout at the warehouse or what have you. Yeah. Right. Where are we going? Yeah. Yeah, there's some Spanish language movies I've seen where
You know more about that?
it's just well, the Spanish was good. Yeah. Um American Hustle wasn't bad. But
I liked it.
yeah. Yeah. But that's not exactly a crime movie. It's more of a it's half crime movie, half
Genre bender.
yeah, half police caper, right? Because you do see the other side.
Do.
Yeah.
And police caper with a wonderful twist at the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That had me ready to applaud.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Applaud right in the middle of the movie. It's a wonderful twist.
Yep. Yep. So, yeah. No, American Hustle is worth your time. I get frustrated with Scorsese. I've probably said that before.
Going back to an earlier era, being, the theme of overrated crime movies, The Untouchables.
With
80s, of course. Young Kevin Costner.
the young Kevin Costner.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Being an insufferably self-righteous treasury agent.
Uh-huh. Let's do some good today, boys.
Who dares utter that line? And that fell into melodrama.
The stairway scene, though.
Shamelessly stolen from Sergei Eisenstein.
But they stole it well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but if you really want to see a great take on that stairway scene, the Frank Drebin Naked Gun parody
On the subject of crime.
Yeah. Yes. The Naked Gun is
First one, you could, that was good for one movie.
right. Yep.
They should have tried to keep it up.
Yeah.
Good for one movie. Oh, good crime movies. There's no way I could have seen this as a kid. No way. 2 years later, French Connection.
Oh, okay.
More a caper movie, I guess, than a crime movie.
Yeah. You have to start making some distinctions between heist, caper, crime. Yeah, crime movies are about the criminals.
Very much the flawed policeman, the flawed hero.
Yeah,
I kind of like the flawed hero theme.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Snatch is a fun crime movie. Very British.
Steve McQueen. Bullet.
Bullet.
This goes back to the 1960s.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I put that on the list.
Okay. Yeah.
This is kind of a comedy, but have you seen How to Steal a Million?
No.
It's Audrey Hepburn and Peter O'Teal. It's pretty fun.
Okay.
Set up, her dad's a artist forger, and something happens so that his daughter Audrey and this art inspector Peter have to go steal something from the museum in order to like fix a whole bunch of problems. So he essentially is becoming the person he tries to catch.
Right.
So
Is it a comedy?
that's good comedy, yeah.
Okay.
I think my favorite part
Like
of
a
there,
caper comedy.
yeah,
Okay.
because she thinks he's a thief too,
Mm.
so she doesn't like him, but she doesn't know his full story. And like they're going somewhere, and they get in his car, and he's like, "Do you want to drive?" And she's like, "I can't drive a stolen car." He's like, "Oh, same principle: 4 forward, 1 reverse." That's a great line.
Yeah. Ooh, should we excoriate Scarface or should we just leave it? Should we let the dead bury their own?
Definitely did not see a memorial.
Dead upon arrival. Yeah. Another what's the
Well,
point?
Dead Upon Arrival, that was a classic noir film.
Oh. I've not seen it.
Well, see, I have this mild addiction to Turner Classic Movies.
Okay. Yeah.
Noir Alley.
Yeah.
Wild premise
Mm-hmm.
that a man is fatally poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
And before he dies, he wants to find out who fatally poisoned him.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to solve the crime. He wants to solve his own murder.
Oh. So the poison is killing him slowly.
Killing him slowly.
Ah.
He wants to find it, solve his own murder.
Ah.
Speaking of murder mysteries, Death on the Nile. Have you seen that one?
The Kenneth Branagh.
There are two, there you bring, yes, there are two movie versions of Death on the Nile about which I have very different opinions.
I've seen the later one. I haven't seen the
I've
first
seen the latter one. Did you like it?
I did.
With Gal Gadot and Kenneth Branagh and a few other people.
Liked it. If I hadn't seen Peter Ustinov
Mm.
as Poirot, I just, Branagh wouldn't do it for me.
Hmm.
For me, it's Ustinov.
What year is that? Or what decade?
1970s.
1970s. Okay.
And I thought, how shall I put this? The earlier movie typically had a certain economy of violence
Hmm.
that typically the later movie did not have.
Like it was spread out.
There was just too much violence.
The shadow on the wall. Right. Up through the 80s, they depict the murder, the shadow on the wall, right?
Yes, a certain
See that.
economy of violence.
Yeah.
Not like for a while I was really into BBC mysteries. I dropped out of those. It was British mysteries that got in the habit of always, in the course of the mystery, you have to have more than one murder. Corpses just multiply.
They're everywhere.
Everywhere. Multiply compulsively. Enough of this.
Oh, I know of a clever rogue. Have you seen the new Young Sherlock show?
No, I've not seen it. I haven't heard of it.
You're
I've heard of it.
okay. So it's Guy Ritchie who made it.
The gentleman.
Yeah, it's 8 episodes,
Okay.
like an hour long.
Hmm.
And then so young Sherlock in Harvard, and he meets James Moriarty there,
Ah,
and they're friends. So they're solving mysteries on their own, and it's a great like arc of showing how Moriarty becomes the villain. It's very interesting.
Oh, fun.
But he is very, very charismatic.
little bit of Breaking Bad action then.
Hmm.
Mm.
I liked Breaking Bad.
It's tough. It's a tough watch.
It's a tough watch.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing.
Because you do see the corruption.
Yeah, because Moriarty is that same guy, like very smart, knows what he's doing, womanizer, um, has some principles that he won't break, but he's okay with breaking others and enjoys it. And that's the part at the end you're like, oh, that's why he becomes a villain.
He enjoys getting away with it.
Well, not he doesn't enjoy getting away with it, he just enjoys doing it.
He enjoys the crime itself.
Yeah.
Is a very different thing from, again, say the tolerant, who's perfectly willing to lie, cheat, and steal, but for a definite purpose.
Hmm.
Or the Julius Caesar, who's quite capable of being ruthless, but very economical with his violence. You were either dangerous to him or you weren't.
Hmm.
And if you weren't, you could irritate him no end, but he was able to laugh it off. Or even if you'd opposed him, but you made terms with him and you kept your terms, he could be surprisingly forgiving. But if you were a determined enemy, he was a more determined enemy.
Right. Right. I gave you a chance.
Gave you a chance.
Right. He wasn't opposed to a good pitched battle, and he could even forgive the captured generals.
He could.
But don't use my leniency as an opportunity to then.
Definitely. Revolt after submission would be in Gaul. Revolt after submission was ruthlessly punished.
Okay. Right.
Then the Civil War, he forgave opponents unless they turned against him a second time.
Right. That's funny. Julius Caesar. Everyone gets one.
Everyone gets one.
Yeah.
Some of his opponents are so fanatical. Cato the Younger chose to commit suicide rather than accept Caesar's mercy.
Oh.
Absolutely fanatical. There's a tradition among Roman Stoics of honoring Cato the Younger, and that always struck me as insane.
Sounds like
the man wasn't so much a defender of Roman ways as he was a fanatical hater of the man Julius Caesar. Rather die than accept his pardon.
That's an ego.
Sometimes it takes an ego to do great things.
Well, no, it's like Cato's had the ego.
Okay,
Yeah, right.
yes.
If he's willing to die instead of accepting mercy.
So theatrically the defender of old Roman ways. His father had that.
Which were already an embalmed corpse.
Yeah, it's already an embalmed corpse.
It was already over.
His father was like that too, Cato the Elder. And very honest, but coldly unpleasant. He wrote a guide for owning a farm, which he included the really nasty advice. If you've got an elderly slave, sell the slave if you can. Isn't that nasty?
Sell this.
If you've got an elderly slave, sell the slave if you can. He's not going to do that much work for you anymore.
Right. This is good. This is good farm economy. They're going to start costing more than they produce. So
he's an unpleasant character. I do not like the Catones.
Interesting. Wow. Caesar.
I'm mostly fascinated with him, I have to admit. And many people are. Biographies of Julius Caesar keep coming out. How annoyed his enemies would be. After 2,050 years, they're still writing about him.
Yeah.
Still talking about him.
Hmm. I wonder, I think it'd be great to write short stories, dialogues, plays. You could take saints and villains from disparate periods of
No.
history, put them in the room together,
That'd be interesting.
and know each. Yeah, of course, if we're being imaginative, let them know the history of each other, what they stood for, what they believed in. See what dialogue occurred.
Mm.
It's like Saint Olga.
What's that?
That's like Saint Olga. Do you know?
Saint Olga.
Do you know?
Kev.
Yeah. I would not want to mess with her.
She was also not to be trifled with.
Hmm.
Do you know her story?
Kievan Primary Chronicle. She was not to be trifled with. No. Well, and there you have it. Congregation for Saints back in the 18th century had to address the question of should Charlemagne be honored as a saint, because there was a traditional cultus in honor of Charlemagne at Aachen.
Mm-hmm.
The conclusion was, we can't conclude. He did so much for the world and for the church. Both marvelous king, not just a great conqueror, but sponsor of education, lawgiver, creator of law and order. So much for the world and for the church. It wouldn't be right to say, no, we cannot possibly honor him as a saint. But on the other hand, he was not someone you wanted to mess with.
Hmm. He was ruthless.
He was ruthless when he had to be.
Mm-hmm.
When he felt he had to be. Same kind of thing. Yeah. You fought me. I beat you. Fine. You accept your your place in the new order. All is forgiven. You can thrive. But you rebel against me. After submitting once, oh my. Yet he did so much for the church and for the world. Gave peace to a vast swath of Europe. Beat off dangerous enemies of the faith, enemies of the people, the marauding Avars especially. Rescued the papacy from the somewhat malign intentions of the Lombard kings. Marvelous sponsor of education. Writing. Oh my class in medieval Latin paleography. We started, the pain of trying to make out Merovingian scripts. And then you come to Carolingian minuscule. Our lowercase letters are descended from Carolingian minuscule. Suddenly you can read scripts again. It's a marvelous thing. No ancient text that survived to the time of Charlemagne was lost after that. Preservation of ancient literature, establishment of schools, promotion of divine worship. Occasionally reminding the Pope that, I'm very respectful to popes. I really am, but they'd better be respectful of me.
Mm-hmm. This is a two-way street, boys.
It's a two-way street, boys. I respect the Sixth Peter, but the Sixth Peter should know that, well, I don't know how to put this, but, where would he be right now without
Me.
Right. And Frankish power. And the congregation for saints, all it could include was, we don't know. So we won't promote his cause for canonization. We will allow him still to be regarded as blessed.
Mm-hmm.
And he is still honored liturgically in Aachen.
Mm-hmm.
He's considered a blessed.
Blessed. And buried, still honored liturgically at Aachen, where he's buried.
We'll find out in heaven, I suppose.
Find out in heaven.
We'll find out many things.
Oh, or Vlad the Impaler?
Well, he's a harder case.
Well, he's a hard case, but like another person you wouldn't want to trifle with.
No, you don't want to mess with him. In the end, he went down. Charlemagne was never in a fight he didn't win. Like Constantine. That's really brings up a difficult issue that we alluded to earlier. You need the good guys need some scary people.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you evaluate those scary people?
Christ was scary a couple times.
He was. Certainly after he expelled the legion from the demoniac, the people in the neighborhood went and
Begged him to leave the area.
Please go away.
I mean, could you not be scared of a man who can calm a storm?
Yeah.
Drives out the money changers, apparently single-handedly.
Mm-hmm.
Commands the demons to go out of the man and into the swine. Man. If you saw any of those events, you'd be...
Well, the scriptures use the word fear. Great fear came upon them.
Yeah.
There is power here.
Well, that's also the first thing usually angels will say.
Yes.
Is don't be afraid.
Be not afraid.
That was one of C.S. Lewis' lines. There's a problem that goes way back. He said that in scripture, the first thing an angel says is fear not. In religious art, it looks like the first thing the angel will say is they're there.
Yes.
Well, yeah, if you have you seen some of like illustrations people have made of some of the angels, like the thousand-eyed angel?
I haven't.
It's very interesting. You're like, I'd be terrified of that. But there's a funny story of Gabriel being chosen to tell Mary that Jesus is coming. And it's like a text message. And like going back and forth. And Gabriel's like,
Between
"What?"
God and Gabriel.
Yeah, and Gabriel's like, why me, God? He's like, well, you're a nice looking fella. If I sent one of the other ones with like 1,000 eyes, they might run away, never talk to us again because they're afraid of spiders down there.
That's great.
That's pretty funny.
They're afraid of spiders. Some of us not too afraid of spiders. Interesting people are afraid of. A friend of mine got a doctorate in psychology. I once saw him tuck down someone who drew a knife. He was very calm, very cool, very collected. And I once saw this same man go to pieces when he ran across an ugly spider.
That's
In the corner of his office or wherever it may have been.
Years ago. It was actually in his bathroom, and I was responsible for him meeting the spider. I was visiting his place. I found this wonderful spider. Ooh. So I snuck into his bathroom where he was showering, and I placed it on his towel.
Abusive.
That was kind of abuse, wasn't it?
Right.
There were consequences.
There were consequences, yeah. Uh-huh.
You can't do that sort of thing without consequences.
Yep. Wow.
But I think spiders can annoy me a little bit occasionally. I think to myself, yeah, they eat flies.
They kill a lot of bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Flies can be annoying, but they break down waste matter. They have their place.
Right.
I understand this. Mosquitoes, I don't understand.
Yeah, mosquitoes must be a direct
result of original sin.
A direct result of the fall, yeah. 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 I see no place. I see no place in the ecosystem for them. Yeah. Spiders are interesting.
It's like Havanese, they're like Abel's like, Mom, Dad, why are mosquitoes?
Like, long story, son. Yeah.
So there was this
Eat your fruit.
The apple.
We should.
Long story, son. Don't listen to snakes.
Yeah. Right. Those talking snakes. Huh.
There's another funny like dialogue of God talking to Adam and Eve. It's like, all right, guys, just be happy, have a great time, just don't do the thing, okay? We talked about this, just don't do it. And God comes back and like, so God is like, yep, we did the thing,
We
guys.
did. Yeah, the thing that you were quite explicitly warned not to do. It is an amazing story when you think about it. The warning is really quite explicit, and it's entirely true. If you eat this, you will die. Very straightforward.
Hmm.
They had every reason to trust him. They were intimate with him. We're told God walked in the garden, so it's expression. They knew God, so they knew his nature. They were provided with everything they could possibly need. They knew his benevolence, and yet they could be led into distrusting him.
Hmm. And walk willingly into to distrusting him.
Pride, not to accept their reality. You will be like God's doing both good and evil. And there are scholars who know Hebrew in a way that I do not, who suggest that knowing good and evil is a Hebrew expression for everything.
Ah.
Oh.
You will know everything, which means they're not accepting being just human.
Hmm.
So like Satan himself, they fell through pride. That's how they went astray. They knew they were very great, as human beings are very great, but still, we're human beings.
Hmm.
Nothing less, nothing more. They would know everything. They would not accept just being human.
Hmm. The corollary being, we don't know everything now. Ah, well, that's intolerable.
Yeah, exactly. We find that intolerable.
How could we be left not knowing everything?
Which is to say, we're angry at simply being human.
Which is really interesting that Christ was happy being human.
Exactly.
Like it was enough for God to be
Who
human.
emptied himself to assume the form of a slave.
And that's even a crazier thought, it's like it's really easy to have FOMO in life. But just
Under the
think
age of 30, absolutely. Fear of
but
missing out.
Oh,
of
FOMO.
I don't.
FOMO is fear of missing out,
Ah, okay.
oh yeah.
missing the party. Yeah.
Um but
Maybe
it's
after midnight, it'll get really fun. Right.
When the bad things do start to
Yeah,
happen.
right. Can't miss the fights.
yeah. But just think of how many things God, as being man on earth, knowing everything that there is, was choosing not to do.
Mm.
Hmm.
But he chose to do what was in front of him.
And he chose to accept his reality.
Yeah.
No one was ever more comfortable in his own skin
Mm. Yeah.
and less desirous of being somebody else.
Mm.
Much human misery comes from wanting to be someone other than who you are.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think, although I'm a very patriotic American, we've done great things. We do have our weaknesses. One of our weaknesses is I don't think there's any other country on earth that is so much into reinventing yourself
Hmm.
as we are.
Mm-hmm. Personally, like every American is told they ought to reinvent themselves some time during their adulthood.
Yes.
Got to figure out your brand.
Yes.
What's your personal brand?
Personal brand? I think that makes people crazy. If you frame it in terms of discovering yourself, that's not so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What is within you? You do make choices, clearly. What are your gifts? What are your talents of nature and of supernature, of your social position? What are your gifts? What are your abilities? Discover that and use those. What things do you find yourself almost spontaneously liking, and what things do you not enjoy? Give things a chance, but don't pretend that you like something you don't like. It's very liberating. You don't have to show people you don't have to show people that you're sophisticated. It was a most wonderful liberation. I was taking another college experience, wine tasting class. About halfway through, I decided I don't care.
Ah,
I like wine, but I'm not interested in being able to say much more than
yes,
this.
more please, or no thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, much more than no thank you or more please or this is good.
This is red.
This is red.
That's white.
I'm not interested. I'm not saying there's anything, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with
Having that enthusiasm.
having enthusiasm for it, but it's not my enthusiasm. I'm not going to pretend. I do not want to be able to say, this is a delicate rosé with
Mm, no,
shades of
yeah,
dandelion.
right. Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Similar with coffee. It's fine to be an enthusiast. Fine, but it's not my enthusiasm.
Hmm.
That's okay. I'm not going to pretend to be able to talk about, oh, this is a fine espresso.
Right. Hmm.
All I can say about coffee is black, a little bit of cream.
And thank you. Here's your change. Yeah.
Thank you. Here's your change. I'm not going to pay $8 for a cup of coffee.
Hmm. Well, it is relating back to what you said about human beings. It's wonderful that there are so many things one can be enthusiastic about.
Well, it's another thing. Eating for us, not only is it social, which it is for many animals, not only is it social, for us, eating can be artistic.
One of the great arts.
One of the great art forms.
Yeah.
By its nature, a transient art form.
Yeah, so ephemeral.
Yes, but nonetheless.
And then dinner was over.
And then dinner was over.
Right. This is worse than a concert. Like,
nonetheless, an art form. And that's extraordinary.
It's amazing too how excited people get over food. Like genuinely goodly, a good excitement. Like if you think about like like the times mom would make something you really loved, like you were so excited. And that was like just a genuine love for something good.
hmm.
And when someone else can make something that you like that way, it can be one of the greatest catalysts for good memories. Like dinner times with people are some of the best moments you'll probably ever have.
Yeah.
Cool. Which is really cool.
Yeah.
It's just
like me, I just have to take your word for it.
Yeah.
Down the gaps in my education should have happened. I would have fought it tooth and nail as a kid. Being dragged off and someone dragged me off and forced me to learn how to cook.
Ah.
I would have resisted, but it would have been good for me.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. There's something about being able to create a meal for others that is it's a spiritual, corporal work of mercy in that.
Explicitly said, I was hungry and you gave me food.
Right. Yeah. Padre, we are once again out of time. Given the yeah, the work that lies upon us for both tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, but it's always a pleasure to have you.
My homily is prepared, but it's prepared longhand.
Yeah.
So I have to
Needs
reduce
to be
it
transcribed.
to a legible form. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe we can find an AI tool that can just take a picture of it and turn it into a text document. That's a good use for AI.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Actually, that'd be really nice.
Yeah. No, they have them. They have them now. So, and that's a good use for AI. That's a good tool.
I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's not rewriting anything. It's just turning it into a different format.
Yeah. Yeah. Quick transcription. So, but Padre, we will look forward to having you on next time.
All right.
We will have a real list of movies ready.
List of movies.
What name did we decide we're gonna call it going forward?
More movies, bad history. Fun movies, bad history.
Fun movie, bad history.
Fun movie, bad history. Okay.
How many examples of that?
There are many. We'll have more to discuss.
Gladiator.
Yeah, Gladiator. Oh, God.
Fun movies, bad history.
Yes. Very good. Thank you, Padre.
Thank you.